teachers. How's life? I believe that you are now very excited because we are approaching the coming school year. And this video is dedicated to know whether we already have known our students well, especially the low proficiency students. Type 1. Some students are weak in English because they may have been learning English for a very short time than others, or shorter than others, or maybe they did not get sufficient encouragement from the previous school or teachers or parents. In Indonesian case, in our country, because the government has eliminated English subject in elementary school, so it is very common that when they go to SMP, for example, most of our students are very low in English proficiency. Some, only a few are very good because they went to private elementary schools usually. Okay, for this kind of students, I mean the low proficiency students caused by the insufficient background when they were in the previous school, or they did not get enough encouragement from the previous school. Actually, they have chance. They have great chance to be successful in your class when you give adequate attention, sufficient time, more than others, more than those of good proficiency. So they will be successful. They have a great chance to be successful. The second type, or type 2 of the low proficiency students, are students with physiological learning disabilities. I repeat, students with physiological learning disabilities, such as they have poor hearing or poor sight. For this case, we as teachers should get help from other parties, like from parents, or from the counseling teachers, or from the teachers in charge of our class in our school usually. And did you know that some parents might not know that their kids cannot hear, especially cannot see well, because those kids have their own reason for not telling that they cannot see well. For example, there is a case that a student doesn't want to tell his parents that they cannot see well, I mean they have poor sight, because he belongs to like a sport team, so he doesn't want to wear glasses in case that he is afraid that friends will mock him and others. So teachers should supervise whether students have physiological learning disabilities, such as poor hearing or poor sight. In case of poor hearing, meaning that probably the kid needs hearing aid. So teachers should work together hand in hand with parents or other parties. The third type is children with severe psychological problems. I believe it happens in many places in Indonesia, in the world, I mean. So children with severe psychological problems resulting from, for instance, from the traumatic experiences of one kind or another. There is problem with the parents or the society. Okay, these students will be hard to focus on our school. They will be distracted with their experiences, with their traumatic experiences. In this case, teachers should get help from other parties too, like the counseling or the parents. I don't know. Some parents are the cause of the students' problem. So first thing first, probably it's good to talk about it with the counselors at school to find the cause of the problem. This one is very interesting. The last one, type 4, I mean. So this kind of students are weak in English because their motivation is low. So we are talking about the low proficiency students, and the last type is the students with low motivation. They ignore, I mean, they do not want to know the reasons why they should learning English. They ignore what their parents will feel when they are successful. So in short, they don't have motivation of learning English because they don't want to know, not because they are low in proficiency, but because they do not want to know. Okay. For this kind of students, these poorly motivated students, we cannot argue. I mean, we teachers rarely will be successful to persuade using arguments with this kind of students. With such learners, it is exceptionally important that your lesson be just useful, yes, because they think that English is not useful in their daily life, at least now. Okay, and then because the denial of usefulness may be part of their basic attitude. And then your lesson should also be well managed, yeah, since these two may be unappreciated because they see that our class is messy, so they got the excuse for not being involved in our class. So for this kind of students, our class should be useful, well managed, and then interesting and varied, because they will get bored easily. So with those tips, they will not have an excuse to abandon or to ignore our class.